Here is how to use AI to make your webinars absolutely print. Now, in the past week, I've ran two webinars, on one making over 60K and on the other one making over $30,000. And the one thing that helped me incredibly was AI. Now I'm going to explain to you why you should even run webinars in the first place and then how easy it is to set them up with AI. So first, phase number one, why webinars and how to even get started. So first things first, to show you that, I know what I'm talking about. Here's our last month with one of my clients. We've done over $100,000 with Webbies alone. Here you can see the first one, the second one. This was from our follow-up process. Here is our dashboard on Stripe. And here is another client that I've booked 90 calls with one single webinar. So why you should even run webinars? I like to call it the IDCNL. Now what that stands for, C for cleanup mechanism. So pretty much think of all the people that are on the fences, that have maybe booked a call, had a bad experience with the closer, or they haven't even booked a call yet. They only watched 2 minutes of your VSL. It didn't get them, and they just didn't take action from there. They don't read your emails. Pretty much all these people that have not taken action with whatever funnel you're running currently. A webinar is a perfect low commitment free sauce event where they can hop on and you get the chance to actually sell them. And it really is a no-brainer offer for them because it's just free sauce. There's no one-on-one call. They know they're not going to be hopping on a one-on-one call with a closer that's going to make them feel uncomfortable. It's really just a class that they can join. They don't even have to pay attention if they don't want to. It's super low pressure, and it really is going to get majority of your audience, that bunch of people that have simply not taken action with you yet. Again, this is a super simple way to actually get them over the line to commit to something and for you to get a chance to sell them. Next up, influence. So as you probably know, and you've probably seen it for yourself too, we're in a trust recession. People have been burned by fake promises and overhyped guarantees, and just all the gurus that really didn't deliver on their promises. Because of that, you've probably seen that around you. Everyone is honing in on YouTube and just building more trust and really honing in again on long form content. Webinar is a perfect way to do all that because number one, you're live, so literally you're there. They can ask you questions. You can show expertise in real time, no pre-recorded, scripted stuff. You're literally there talking to them, engaging with them, answering their questions. Um, and that level of engagement just builds incredible trust. And again, they're part of an experience. Why I have Drake here is because just imagine your VSL call funnel is like, them listening to you on Spotify. They can just listen to you whenever. But a live webinar, that's an event, right? That's not just happening all the time. People get super excited for it. And yeah, again, think of it just like listening to listening to Drake on Spotify, and then getting onto his concert and hearing him live. It's just a different experience. People get excited for that. And I mean, just look at what the big names are doing in the market, right? Alex Hormozi ran a crazy webinar, 3-day webinar. Someone could call it a challenge funnel, but at the end of the day, it was still a webinar, just long form. Tony Robbins, Shelby Sapp, making millions with weekly webbies, or Iman, again, some would call it a challenge funnel, but at the end of the day, it's still the webinar framework and it's still a live event. So they are probably doing it for, for some reason. Next up, nurture. So as you can see here, our average time on a live room is 1 hour and 22 minutes, meaning people are literally there watching you for 1 hour and 22 minutes, right? You can shorten your sales cycle incredibly. Instead of them just seeing 3 minutes of you can literally have them watch you for 1 hour and 22 minutes. That's, I don't know the exact math here, but that's just a lot more. Plus you have all your assets, your email. I'll get to that in a bit. You just nurture them a lot, right? You give them a lot of sauce. You tell them a lot about yourself, and you can pretty much just take someone who's literally never heard about you, and after that webinar, that hour and 20 minutes, they're gonna be ready to buy and invest thousands of dollars with you. Next up, we have never lose. So whether people take action on your webinar or not, you genuinely cannot lose, because just think about your competition, right? Everybody's just with their VSL call funnels. You've been here talking to them for hour and 22 minutes. You've been nurturing them, you've given them insane sauce, you've told them your entire story, you've broken down their objections and their limiting beliefs. And, maybe they're just not ready yet for whatever reason, but just think of when they are ready. Who was the one that provided the most amount of value? Guess who they're going to run into? They can trust you because they've literally been, engaging with you live. It's gonna be you, right? It's gonna be you. And so again, you generally cannot lose whether they buy on the webinar or not. It's still an incredible nurturing asset, and once they are ready, they generally are gonna choose you. And lastly, I've literally seen a webinar in every single niche. So I don't know if guy got yours in here, but they generally do work with every single niche, and I've seen a lot of niches absolutely crush with them. So now, how to actually get started, right? So first things first, before you run a webinar, you should have results, and not just results for yourself, but also, results for your students. If you're a completely new coach and, you don't have much social proof, I would not recommend you run a webinar. But, if you do, amazing funnel, absolutely love it. So run it. Number two, decent speaker. So webinars, I'm gonna be honest, it's not the easiest funnel to run. If you feel like you're not the best on camera, you might want to consider other funnels. But if you are charismatic, you're not boring, you know how to speak well, this is gonna be the perfect funnel for you. Not saying that you have to be, but it really does help a lot. And if you're not, it's something that you can practice. I'd say, try to be a decent speaker before actually running a webinar. And lastly, traffic. Obviously, you need traffic, whether that's, cold or organic. You need traffic for your webinars. And I would really consider webinars when you do have a little more traffic, meaning, you can either run your organic or you're willing to spend money on ads, because it really is the most powerful when you get a lot of people in and the energy in the room is just great. And here's, if you are not the best speaker yet, here's a little tongue twister that you can do. I practice this every single day. Hopefully it helps. All right, so step number 2, foundations. So your step number 1 is you need decent market research. So whether you already do have one, if you've done a form to your audience in the past, get all that information. If you've hopped on calls before for market research purposes, take all that. Also, if you have a bunch of sales calls, again, take all that and, just plug it all into AI. You've probably done this before, but just leverage AI as much as possible. Get all the sales call transcripts. Get the entire forum, get the ICP sheets, and really just plug it all into AI and really train it up well so it knows exactly who your audience is, what do they want the most, what limiting beliefs you'll have to overcome on your webinar, and really just you need to know exactly who you're talking to before deciding to run a webinar. So really don't underestimate this step. It's literally crucial. And if your webinar is not resonating or you're teaching something they don't really want to learn, it's going to flop. So don't skip this step. Really make sure you know exactly. And once you have that, you're good to go, right? So with that market research form or market research document, whatever you have in that, whatever you have there, you'll come up with a webinar name, exactly what they'll walk away with at the end, and those 3 or 4 steps that they're going to be learning, aka the body of the webinar. I'll get to that later. And then the offer that you're going to be selling now, whether that's going to be a mid ticket or a high ticket. High ticket, everything over $3,000, I would do an application form, aka a book call, but I'm gonna get to that in a little bit. Now, here are some examples. So you've probably heard about Shelby Sapp. Again, she's ripping with webinars, and this is her webinar name, right? How to step into high ticket sales with Shelby Sapp. Exactly what they're gonna learn, the 3 to 4 steps. And her offer is her She Sells Academy, and she runs actually an application form, a high ticket. So we're gonna get to that in a bit, but I'm gonna drop some AI prompts inside my Telegram channel. I'll leave that in the bio. So if you want some of that, you can join there, and I'll drop it in there. So phase number 3, building the infrastructure. So for a webinar funnel, you need number 1, a registration page. So over here, you want to have a headline. After that, you can have a VSL, that's optional. After that, you have some scarcity, right? Some type of timer going down, because again, it is an event, right? It's not just evergreen, it's not just all the time happening. So you want people to know that it is exclusive. Next up, call to action button. So just, have a clear CTA button to register. After that, exactly what they'll learn. You can have a section, about you, what your results are, how you got to where you are now. And lastly, just results. You can have results from your students, and even better if you have results from, people that just hopped on your webinar and got these results literally just from your webinar. Next up, the thank you page. So on the thank you page, that's basically the step right after they register, right after they fill out their name, email, phone number. Make sure to collect phone number too. I've seen so many people not getting their phone number and not sending SMS. Do it. Absolutely do it. That's going to boost your show rate like crazy. I really don't understand why people are not doing it. If you're worried about the cost, really, it's going to come back. I promise you, it's worth every single dollar to run SMS for webinar funnels. It's literally the easiest lever to pull if you're not doing that right now. Um, but yeah, after that, you pretty much want to tell them that they're not done yet. Because, after they register, the more things you have them do, the more likely they're going to actually show up. So you want to tell them they're not done yet. You'll have a quick 1 or 3 minute VSL just telling them, to congratulate them on showing up and what the next steps are going to be, and how, this class that they're about to hop on have changed so many lives, all that good stuff. Get them hyped and, nurtured for the actual event. You want to tell them what the next steps are. So number one, you want them to add the event to their calendars, so they don't forget. They can set reminders on their Google Calendar as well. Next up, join the WhatsApp group. So inside the WhatsApp group, again, you want to send them even more reminders, nurturing assets. I'll actually get into that in a bit. And lastly, you want them to open up their email. You literally want to have all these buttons with custom code where they click on it and it literally, gets them to wherever they want to go. So the WhatsApp, the calendar, the email, you want them to actually open your email, and that way you can secure the open rate and and get your email reputation, up. So for the actual reminders, you obviously want to send SMS, again, email, and WhatsApp. So inside the emails, you pretty much want to sell them on three things. It's number one, yourself. So, why you're the authority in the space and why you can help them. Number two, themselves, that, they can actually do it and it is very possible for them, and many other people like them have done it. Number three, the mechanism. So why your mechanism actually works and why it is the only method that works, and how, all the rest of the stuff they've tried is not as good as your mechanism. And number four, urgency and, scarcity. Just like really make them hyped up and not wanting to miss this. Make it simple, nothing crazy there. It's really just reminders, and as you get close, you can send them the link to actually join the room as well. And for the WhatsApp group, again, urgency, scarcity, show them results, and even send them some exercises so they can, actually do some stuff. So for example, one of the things we did was we asked them to write down 5 goals that they want to, walk away with from the class. And when you have someone do, these little tasks, these little commitments, they are gonna much more likely show up to the webinar, and again, just get more nurtured. Next up, to actually host your webinar, we use Webinar Jam. For that, you just want to set up the date, time, the moderators, the presenters, the extra emails, all the tracking offer. You can watch a YouTube tutorial. There's a bunch of them. It's fairly simple, so I'm not gonna be wasting a lot of time on that. You can literally, find a 10-minute YouTube video. It'll walk you through how to set that up. Webinar offer. So here's where, whether you have a whether you have a mid ticket or a high ticket offer, it'll depend on whether you create a checkout page or an application funnel. So if you're running a high ticket offer, again, anything above 3K, I would recommend have a call to action for them to actually book a call, not, directly check out, because when it's a higher ticket, people are probably going to have, some questions maybe, or, it's just harder to get them over the line with a higher ticket offer. So you can just have, if you're running a VSL call funnel, you already have that infrastructure. So really just, make some tweaks and have literally the same thing there. I'm not going to go too deep into that because, that's VSL call funnel. I might make a video on that specifically later. But if you are running a mid-ticket offer, meaning anything, 1K, 2K, $500, um, have a checkout page. Now, the mistake that I see many people do with their checkout pages is they're doing so much there, and you really don't need all that because you're selling on the webinar, right? You're not selling them on the sales page. The sales page should really just be, them checking out, because all the selling should really be done over the webinar. And pretty much on the checkout page, all you want to have, is maybe the headline, the actual checkout box, and then exactly what they get, including the bonuses. That's it. That's what we've done. And you really don't want to have more than that. You don't want to confuse them with extra stuff. Really just, keep it simple. Again, most of the selling is going to be done through the webinar. The sales page should really just be super simple and straightforward. Now, feedback form. So this is something that helps with, retention and as well as the show rate. So what you actually want to do is you want to offer them a lead magnet that they get for showing up. So you have that inside your, email promotion, as you can have that on your landing page as well. And pretty much you want to tell them at the beginning of the webinar that you're going to receive, this XYZ lead magnet. It should be super valuable. It should be something that solves a big problem that they have. So for example, if, you're running a sales offer, let's say, the biggest problem could be actually getting an offer. So you can, offer an outreach vault or an outreach module or something like that, something, that they actually want and is going to be valuable to them. And you want to tell them that, they'll get access to that at the end. So you make them just watch the entire webinar to get that lead magnet. And, chances are if you do a job well, they'll probably buy your offer if they stay till the end, right? So you want to offer that. And now the way we actually give it to them is not just, here you go, here's the link. We want to put that behind a feedback form. So what we do with this is it's pretty much a type form, and we just ask them a couple simple questions like how they enjoyed the webinar, and then most importantly, if they purchased the offer or if they took action or not. If they haven't taken action, why not? And pretty much from there, we have a backend team, a sales team that is gonna, dial them up and just handle whatever objections they had and really try to push them over the fence with, whatever objection they really had. And chances are, some people don't even know why they didn't take action. So we really have an option that I don't even know as well. And when people click that, we just redirect them to the call to action page. So do this. It'll help you a lot. And yeah, let me know how it goes if you do. Now, the last piece of the puzzle for the infrastructure is the post webinar. So obviously you want to have email, SMS, you want to have the emails tailored to their specific situation. So whether they, showed up, they didn't even show up, they stayed for the pitch, they didn't stay for the pitch. You want to send them different emails based on, again, what action they took. And next, you want to also sort them based on that action inside your CRM, inside your pipeline. So your setters can actually, call them up with a specific order. So, the hottest leads are going to get dialed the first, the coldest, which are the no-shows, are going to get dialed the last. I actually forgot to add sales team here. If you're running an application form, obviously you need closer setters. If you're running direct to checkout, we can still have setters, just dialing up everybody from the feedback form and, just people that stayed and, didn't take action. Have a sales team on the back end. Again, it helps if you're already running a VSL call funnel. You can just plug all those people in, give them the specific SOPs for that, what order they should dial in, etc. Have a sales team. It is going to help you. And let's get to phase 4. By the way, again, for the AI part, pretty much all these stuff, obviously emails you can do with AI. Again, just have that market research doc, have your ICP. I'm gonna be dropping some of the prompts again inside my Telegram channel. So if you want to get that, link is in the bio, you can join. But let's actually hop into phase 4, which is the actual launch. So you want to let people know 7 to 14 days prior to the webinar. If you're doing a challenge funnel, which is, like 3-day webinar, it's just longer. You can even promote for longer, but for just 1-day webinars, I'd recommend 7 to 14 days. And you pretty much, again, want to treat it just like a concert, right? It's an event. So market it as an event, drop it everywhere, every single social media that you have, drop it there. Why not, right? It's gonna be big, and webinars are really great when you have a lot of people, right? So why not just post it everywhere? So, IG, drop it on stories, drop reels to it, go live, tell people to join the webinar, posts, carousels, have it on TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, X, obviously your email list if you have one. And really market it as an event because it is an event, right? So have urgency, have scarcity, give them a lot of perceived value of the actual event. And again, one more thing, it is an event. So really treat it like that. Get people super excited for it. If you do it right, this is literally going to be you, and this is going to be all the people that are going to be begging you to buy your offer. Next up, paid. Start with retargeting ads. If you do have an audience, start with retargeting ads. You can also do broad ads. We've done some static ads, meaning, just pictures. Those work well with webinars, as well as, just some video ads. And you want to be looking at cost per lead around 5 to 15 bucks. And this really, really depends on your niche. For every single niche, it's different. But this is generally the range you're kind of gonna be looking at. And again, 7 to 14 days, launch the campaign, and same principles for paid as the organic, market as an event, scarcity, urgency, value. Now for number 5, which is the actual presentation and the slides and how to actually sell with a webinar. By the way, for the organic launch, again, you can use AI to create your story sequences, your reels, all using that ICP sheet and your brand voice, all that good stuff. You just plug it into AI and have it spit out fire copy, obviously then edit it. But yeah, make your life easier. AI is good. AI is getting better, a lot better. And if you prompt it well and you give it the right things, it will spit fire copy. So same thing applies to the slides as well. You can, again, use AI to help you a lot, but this is the general framework that you want to follow. So quick overview, you want to have the introduction, the content, the actual sauce, the transition, and then lastly, the close. So for the introduction, your goal here is to establish congruency as soon as possible. So people are going to be hopping on with an idea, right, of what this is going to be about. They're going to come on with some level of resistance. Are you actually really this type of person that you've been describing in your emails? Is this really going to be that great? If your first impression is you're boring and it's just not good, you're gonna lose it. So just make sure to start off strong, get them super excited, continue the hype from all your promotional emails and all the content that you've been putting out. Keep up the hype, really get them so excited, get them crazy in the chat. And then there's 5 steps. So number 1, cement your status as authority. So you want to show them, again, congruency. So you are actually him, right? That's how I'd say it. You want to show your results and not just tell, but actually show them too. Obviously have screenshots, show them your results, and you can have different types of results. You can have your big historical wins, so that could be your biggest month, your biggest win, whatever that is. But then you also need a recent win, right? So people, obviously it's good to have a crazy win in 5 years ago, but you really want to have a recent win too, right? Because people are gonna be like, yo, why is this guy showing us a result from 5 years ago, right? So have a big win, have a recent win, and then you also need to have your student results win. So not only that, you have all this, but also the people that you've helped got this. And again, these types can be different. You can have transformations. So, people that literally went from XYZ to XYZ, people that had crazy big wins, crazy big months. A quick win, so people that literally went and implemented your sauce and literally got the results in 7 days, 2 weeks, whatever the time frame is. A quick win, big win, transformation. And then glaze, which is also people that might be talking about you. Maybe if you've been mentioned in some Forbes or something, or a celebrity is talking about you, you can add that in as well. And again, students that were talking good stuff about you. Step number 2, commitments. So again, you want to have them do micro commitments the same way we had in the WhatsApp group, where they had to write down their goals. You want to have them do these micro commitments during the webinar and during the introduction as well. So one of the things that we do is, we just let them know that if you don't pay, you don't pay attention. So let's just pretend you just paid 2K for this. And basically that way they show some commitment towards it and they pay attention. Step number 3, pre-handle objections. So some people do this only at the pitch. Don't do it only at the pitch. Have it during your webinar as well, and most importantly in the introduction. So you can do this by obviously testimonials. You can also have quotes. Could be a quote about, taking action. Could be a quote about money, aka financials. Could be a quote about, time, how it is really irrelevant, and the best time was, um, the best time was yesterday, and the second best time is today. Or you can do a pop quiz as well. So you just, drop those objections and you just handle them right at the beginning, right? So maybe someone is this real? You just handle that, or whatever, objection, just have it there, pre-handle it, and you'll be good. And step number 4, foster hope for the future. So what you usually want to do in the introduction is you want to have them feel a lot of pleasure, right? So you can have visualization, you can have them even close their eyes and just have them visualize, depending on how, woo woo your audience is, and or what offer you're running. Obviously, if you're doing a B2B, don't have them close their eyes and visualize what their dream life looks like. But you want to start off with the pleasure and the dream outcome, and you want to let them know how easy it is and how possible it is. And the opposite is gonna actually happen at the close, at the pitch, where you bring out pain and how they're gonna continue suffering if they don't get your offer. But I'm gonna get into that in a second. Now, last thing is create mystery and intrigue. So you want to give them open loops. So meaning you'll give them, exactly snippets of what they're gonna learn. Just name all your lessons, or all your, one of the 4 steps, all your 4 steps, um, in a way where you create that open loop where they, get so excited for what's about to come. You can basically treat it similar way as you do as with, hooks with your short form content. Try to open up loops and really have them stay on there to close those loops. And again, show not tell. You can have pictures of the slides that are about to come up. Choose the one that are going to open up those loops and are going to get them super excited to continue watching. That's for the introduction. Next up, we go to the content. Now here with the content, it's pretty simple. You just give them your sauce, give them those steps. What you want to focus on here is make sure it's obviously super valuable. It's not just information, they have everywhere. Really make it actually good. That's really important. If your sauce is generic and people don't like it, it's all gonna get cooked. But yeah, make sure your sauce is good. Make sure it's simple, right? Make sure they actually believe it is pretty much effortless and they can really, really do it. You can even ask them during the sauce part, like, does this make sense? Do you feel like you could do this? Obviously, they're gonna be spamming yeses. So yeah, make sure it's good sauce. It seems easy and it seems doable. And again, you show them even throughout the sauce that people have used this exact information, they've implemented this and got XYZ result. After the content, there's the transition. So here is what I've seen a lot is people just go from this, all this sauce into now, you got all this information, but what I need from you next is actual implementation. So can I help you? Can I show you a way to help you with this implementation? And they introduce their offer. But what I like to do here is introduce more problems. Implementation is only one of the problems. I want to introduce 20 of them, right? So from the sauce, we go into recap. We just tell them again what they've just learned, build up some reciprocity, have them think in their head like, oh wow, this guy just gave me a lot of sauce, right? He's amazing. All this makes sense. I generally think I can do this. And then you pretty much want to bring them from the top of the mountain back to reality, um, and introduce the reality, right? Like the reality is most of you are probably not gonna, end up doing anything with this because you'll have problem A, problem B, problem C, problem D, and you list out all these other problems that they could have, and call out the pain again, and you create this big gap where here is where they are now, here's where they want to be, and the perfect bridge is going to be your offer, right? This is how you naturally transition into the pitch without making it awkward. And yes, implementation is important, but it should only be one of the problems, right? Not just the entire offer shouldn't just be around implementation. So now you have the perfect opportunity to introduce your offer. And what you want to do is pretty much you create the bridge. So, whatever gap you've just created, you bridge that with your offer. You tell them what the product is, what they get, and how, every single piece of the program solves the problem that you've introduced. Um, then you want to introduce the bonuses. So, what they get extra. And again, these bonuses should solve more problems. Now you wrap all that up in a bunch of scarcity and urgency. So the one thing here I'd say is make sure it's real. Obviously you can be, sprinkle some magic into it, but don't just make it completely BS, right? Don't just say I'll never be doing this again. Only here you'll get 20K discount. Just people don't believe that, right? Like most of the times some of the things that I've seen are crazy. Like I don't think people generally believe that anymore. So just make sure it's real. And really, again, you'll have conviction in yourself if it's actually real. People are gonna feel it, and it's just gonna be much much better if it's actually genuine and if it's actually real. So after that, you do want a price drop. You do want to give them reasons why they should act now, but again, make it realistic. Don't say that, this is usually for 25K and you can have it here for 40 bucks. Um, yeah, I just don't think people really believe that anymore. But after that, you want to solidify all this with giving them a guarantee. So you literally give them a money back guarantee or, whatever way you want to do it. The way we like to do it is, just a complete money back guarantee if they actually follow the steps. So we then have them sign a contract where it's literally, if you do these steps, if you actually watch the content, if you actually do these, um, you will get the result, right? If you don't, you get your money back. But chances are people are not going to do that. And if they actually are, there's no way they would not get the result. So this way, you have that guarantee, you make them feel good, and you're protected as well. So after the guarantee, you want to tell them, what the best case scenario is, what the worst case scenario is, where literally the worst case scenario is, they get their money back, right? So there's really not that much risk. And the best case scenario is they get their dream lives, right? Without much risk. So you want to have that analogy in there. And then you go into cost of inaction. So, what happens if they don't take action here? Again, you bring them back into that pain. And I do have a really, really good diagram that just is, the cost of inaction on its own, and it really does work well. So, try to find some diagram that shows well what the cost of inaction actually is. So throughout this entire thing, actually, you want to, drop results. So whether that is, this bonus has helped XYZ do this section of the program has helped XYZ do this guy took action and this happened. You want to have results and you want to back up every single claim and promise that you do during the pitch. So, have as many of them as possible. At the end of the day, testimonials results sell the best. Now, lastly, you want to have the classic crossroads, right? So, option A, you do this, you fail, your life sucks. Option B, you take this, you get your dream life. Worst case scenario, you get your money back. It's a no-brainer path, right? The choice is yours. That's usually the last slide, and then you go into Q&A where you address whatever objections you couldn't handle during your slides. And here's where you actually gather market research and data for the next one to tweak it and answer whatever questions are going to be popping up during the Q&A. So this is a very important part. Don't skip on it. Again, you literally get data. Two, you handle objections, and the chances are if someone has that objection, probably more people have it. So by literally answering one question, you can get many, many others over the line. And lastly, again, it comes down to the trust and influence. People can see you in real time, engaging with them. So this is the part where it turns into something that they really can't get anywhere else, right? Because you're talking to them specifically, you're reacting, you're showing your personality. You can be funny here. You can drop this, the sales resistance. You can just be yourself here, really show them you're authentic. You can show them expertise in real time. So if someone has a technical question, you can, handle it show them that you are actually him and really can help them and make them more comfortable that you can actually help. And yeah, if you do all this, you should be very rich now. And you should go and celebrate, go get dinner, whatever it is, because you just ran a great webinar and now you have a chance to help a lot of people, right? So this is pretty much everything. These are the 5 phases, 5 steps. Now, the bonus, the AI prompts that cook, again, you can join the Telegram channel. I'll drop some of that in the description. But I hope you guys got some insane sauce out of this video. I hope you guys do run a webinar. If you do, and if this video helped you to actually run one, let me know. I'd love to hear about, what results you got. And if you have any questions, feel free to DM me. And if you enjoyed, drop a like, drop a subscribe. I'll be talking a lot more about webinars. Comment if you have any questions. Comment if you want any other videos. Give me ideas. And that's all from me tonight. So hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.